Yo, what's up guys? It's Fused Biscuits. Now, the DC Cup just ended and Bell with the Ibli lock won the DC Cup, right? The top guy was playing the Ibli lock. So, I was expecting a ban on Ibli, but I never expected a ban list to actually come this soon, bro. Like, it's only been like 2 days. So, you know what? Let's check it out right now before I get bombarded by thumbnails, man. Let's see. So, cards to be unlimited. Thunder Dragon Colossus has come back to 3, man. Now, I understand, Colossus, it's a bit hard to get. It's not as good as it used to be, right? I mean, it's at 1. It's splashable in so much that I do understand why they brought it back to 3. Although Colossus's summon is not once per turn, so it can be a bit obnoxious to get 2 Colossus slapped on the field. But you know what? The TCG has it at 2, and the OCG has it at 3. So I mean, yeah, I guess Master Duel is now just mirroring those 2 formats. What else? Water Enchantress of the Temple is going back to 3 now. I just think it's about time at this point, right? Like, the Adventurer engine was super powerful back when it came out. In fact, it was so powerful, it actually had to be pre-hit. But the game has grown since then, right? This came out about 2 years ago. So yeah, definitely time for it to come back. Change of Heart going to 3. Now, this is another card where back in the day it was super insane, but right now it's good, but it's not that good, right? It has to target. You have a whole bunch of other removal, and it can only really be used on turn 2 and onwards. So there is a weakness of the card. In fact, it's a massive weakness. So it's only really good in turn 2 decks, and it's not even that good in those. Like, I mean, it is insane in certain formats, but it's not crazy enough to be at 1 anymore, or at 2, I guess. Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Now, this is a very bad, I don't know, man. I don't know about this on here, because back when this got put to 1, it definitely deserved to be put to 1, right? This thing, basically, it locks your opponent out of either spells or traps. Now, back then, it got banned, and it had to actually tribute a dark monster, right? That's a big ask. Right, it's not, I mean, you can get to it, but that is kind of a big ask, right, for you to tribute a massive attack dark monster like that. But nowadays you have something called transaction rollback, and that can just copy this card to lock your opponent out of spells or traps and not have to pay the cost, right? So I don't know, man, this is quite risky, especially since Labyrinth is actually a decent deck, and Labyrinth can use this both ways fairly easily, right? It can tribute a dark and it can use transaction rollback. So maybe that's a hint that transaction rollback is going to be going to 1 or getting banned later on in this ban list, but I really hope so. I hope they're not bringing this back and keeping rollback. That would kind of suck, if I'm being honest, although apparently this is at 3 everywhere else, right? So maybe it's not that big of a deal, but unlike the OCG and TCG, Master Duel is the best of 1. So cards like this, like blowout cards, can do some real damage since you're unable to prepare for them. Okay, also coming back to 3 is Chaos Space. Now, I think the one thing holding Chaos Space back right now was that it's at 2, but now if we don't know, Chaos Space goes into this light and dark dragon combo, right, where you discard a light or a dark to go into your light or dark dragons, then you cycle through those, and Chaos Space has an extra effect where it gets to put a card back in the deck to draw 1, right? So it immediately replaces that discard cost, and then because you place your light and dark dragon back, you're then able to get the extra search. Even though you can't summon it, it still is a +1 that you can use for discards and stuff. So Chaos Space was kind of risky. The TCG still has it at 1. The thing is though, Chaos Space has not really been doing anything recently. So let's see how it goes at 3, right? I mean, we've had Snake Eyes for ages, and let's be honest, man, anything using this card is getting blown out of the water by like Snake Eyes and Bell. So I don't know, maybe this is okay to come back. Okay, now we're on the cards to be semi-limited. Fire King Avatar Kirin. Now, if we look at the stats for Kirin, right, most people are using it at 3. So yeah, going to 2 is a pretty big consistency hit, right? Kirin is the thing that lets you dodge infinite impermanence, and infinite impermanence can be fairly damaging against this deck if you do not draw the Kirin to dodge it. So having it at 2, meaning that you won't be opening it as much, definitely hurts the deck's ability to play through hand traps. So next one, we've got Gold Sarcophagus coming back to 2. Now, you already know my thoughts on this one from the last BANLIST video I did. Without going into too much detail, I think it is kind of risky to be bringing Gold Sarcophagus back. I think this does force Konami to limit their card design a bit and back off from using the banish zone. Where next one, we got Phantom of Yubel is going to 2. So in the beginning, some people actually were using this at 2, but then, as I said, right, people kind of saw the value of Phantom of Yubel and it's too insane. Having this thing in the deck is just an inherent +1 for you, and it recycles your Yubels for you to use it over and over again. So having this thing at 3 is basically just an inherent +3 straight out the gate. I think having this at 2 does lower the ceiling of the deck a little bit, but it doesn't really hurt the consistency in any way. But I don't know if this is a good enough fix for the problem, right? I mean, you will be getting Fiendsmith at some point, which is an insane boost to this deck. And honestly, the turn 1 combos people were doing were only using 2 Phantom of Yubel. I didn't really see anyone summoning 3 on turn 1, so having this at 2 does hurt the follow-up, right? You won't just be able to immediately go into that Phantom to negate a monster effect, but having this at 2 is not too damaging to the deck. And honestly, I didn't even think they were going to hit Yubel, seeing as it is an ultra rare, but yet they've already hit the ultra rare Kirin. So this kind of shows that they're not really afraid to be hitting these ultra rare cards. Okay, next one, we've got Dark Beckoning Beast is going to 2. Now, this is again a slight tap on the wrist, right? I did say before I thought they were going to give Yubel a slight tap on the wrist, so I was right about that. But Dark Beckoning Beast is not really the best one. The best one to open is its search target, Spirit Gates, right? Because Spirit Gates can help you without actually taking up normal summon, right? In fact, I saw a lot of people that were using 2 Dark Beckoning Beast, right? Let's look at the usage stats. Yeah, most people are already just using this at 2, so I don't know how this is even going to affect the deck, right? This might hurt the sprites a little bit, right? You do want to see this at the very least if you want to go into that Ibli lock combo, but I don't know, man. This is just a tap on the wrist. It doesn't really do that much. Now, next one, we've got Opening of the okay, so Spirit Gates is also going to 2. Now it all makes sense, right? Okay, so both of these are now going to 2. Unlike Dark Beckoning Beast, Spirit Gates is the one you want to open the most in Yubel, right? Because just by having a 0 attack and defense fiend in the graveyard, you are essentially able to summon Spirit of Yubel from the hand. And the ability to do that is just completely insane, right? This is so much follow-up in Yubel after you get like Impermed or something, right? This thing basically makes Imperm useless against Yubel. As you can see in Yubels, most people are playing this at 3. This is the one you want to open. And oh yeah, it also has that bonus effect of being able to get back that Yubel continuous spell that allows you to actually pop off and reflect damage to your opponent, right? So this thing kind of has a double effect and is actually kind of integral to that Ibli lock combo that's so infamous right now. So yeah, again, this is a great hit from Konami. Like, let's see the next one. Cards to be limited, so cards to be put to 1. Let's see, Snake Eyes Poplar. Finally, this getting put to 1 in Master Duel. Like, as I said, I was hoping Konami would take the hint from the OCG and the TCG apparently and put this to 1, and yes, they did. So, as I said in that last video, putting this to 1 very much hurts the deck's combo ability, right? It means starting with Poplar very much sucks for you as a Snake Eyes player. It means you're essentially going to have to play that bricky Snake Eyes card that summons itself from the hand. And you know, maybe that's what Snake Eyes players are actually going to start doing, right? So far, you've had some very based hits from Konami right now. This is exactly what I want to see. They're hitting the problems. They're hitting Snake Eyes and Yubel, the 2 most like problematic decks of the format right now. Let's actually move on to the next one, see if there are any more hits. Fossil Diner is going to 1. Okay, this is a very good hit from Konami yet again, right? Stun absolutely sucks, right? Because in Master Duel, it's a best of 1. So you can't really side into those board breakers like you would be able to in the TCG and OCG. So if someone hits you with a stun deck, you're either forced to play an extremely grueling duel that you're probably going to lose, or you just have to quit on the spot. This is just not fun. I don't understand how people even have fun playing this deck, right? Maybe they only play it because they don't like Max C. Hopefully we could see a ban of Max C, guys. Hopefully. No, I'm kidding. That's probably not going to happen. But yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction to ban Fossil Dino. Okay, I'm back again. Now, unfortunately, the recording got ruined, but don't worry, because I'm still hyped about this one. Hurlerino got banned. Now, why do I think they did this? So, first of all, Tears did very well in Worlds, right? A lot of people actually ended up bringing Tier Element to Worlds. In fact, the winning team was playing Tears, and he had some of the most hyped duels in history. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people saw that and they started playing Tears themselves, and Tier Element is one of the most soul-inducing decks of all time, right? Because while you're not guaranteed to mill exactly what you want, you are basically guaranteed to mill something good. However, when you're not so good at the deck, you're just chucking out cards, praying to hit the exact thing that you need. So when you combine that with the fact that this is a very use what you get style of deck, right? You don't really choose what you get or search into things until very late in your combos. You're essentially just using what you're given. So when you combine those things and look at it from the outside, it looks like the most sacky deck in existence, right? Because even if you're good, it always appears from the outside that you just milled the exact thing that you wanted at the time that you wanted it, right? So every time you lose to it, it always feels like you got sacked. And if this weren't bad enough, these combos are some of the longest combos in existence, because you have cards like Curious, which require a ton of comboing to make proper use out of, and then you have cards like Fairy Tale Snow, which can be used over and over and over again, and cards like that just make this deck a pain to sit through. In fact, this deck summons so much that it's one of the only decks that can deck out someone after they use Max C, right? You can actually straight up lose if you use Max C, but that only explains why it's bad. But what does banning Hurlerino even do? Well, in Tears, you have two traps that you want to send to the graveyard as soon as possible, right? You have Trivi Karma and you have Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Both these traps are able to banish themselves from the graveyard to search Hurlerino, and through that, they can search any Tier Elements monster in their deck. With Hurlerino banned, it means the only thing Rainbow Bridge can search is the Horus cards. So now, Rainbow Bridge might just become way too awkward to be using in Tears, especially seeing as it does require a Crystal Beast brick to be in your deck. Right now, I still think they are going to use Trivi Karma, but one, Trivi Karma is an ultra rare, making it like super annoying to get, and two, Trivi Karma won't be able to get its best search target anymore. It's gonna have to go like probably for Tier Elements Grief, honestly. It can go for Scream and your trap cards and Heartbeat as well. That is good. That's exactly why I think it's still going to see play in Tears, but Trivi Karma can't really search a tier anymore, right? It's gonna have to send a Tier Element to the graveyard, which again, I know Tier Elements love to go to the graveyard, but it is a little bit more awkward now. In addition, getting rid of Hurlerino means that you don't have that bonus disruption anymore of being able to pop a card after a Tier Elements is fused or shuffled back into the deck. It also means that playing around Imperm is way harder, because what some people would do if they thought you had Impermanent is that after they fuse into their Kick Kalos, they will chain Planet Hurlerino to pop their own kit, meaning that even if Imperm negates the search, they will still get their mill 5 and hopefully hit something off of that. Yeah, so Planet getting banned is actually a crazy hit. You can see in the TCG and OCG, Planet is not banned, right? So that is a hit that is Master Duel only. However, in the TCG and OCG, don't forget, they don't have Kit Kalos, right? Kit Kalos, which is a way better card for Tier Elements than Planet Hurlerino, is actually banned, right? So Tears are still doing better here than they are over there. Anyway, let's move on. Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. Ibli has been going pretty crazy recently, right? If we just look at Ibli for a second, where is it being used? Yibel. So in Yibel, there is a surprising amount of level and link 2s, including that Sacred Beast engine which got hit, which was making Ibli way more viable. So people are using a short sprite package to get to Ibli, and what Ibli does is that it puts itself on your opponent's side of the field, and it says whoever has this cannot summon except for link summoning. But link summoning is easy. You can just normal something to your side of the field and go into a generic rank 2. Well, they have things like Appalausa and Elf to put this sprite Ibli back on the opponent's side of the field, right? They have cards like Unchained Soul of Rage, or Blue Dog as most people call it, to get rid of your normal summons. And guess what? Yibel is a deck that specializes in like blocking attacks, right? They have a card called Nightmare Pain, which forces you to attack into Yibels, so you can't even crash the Ibli in to remove it. However, this is only being used in 9% of Yibel decks, right? So why is this even a problem? Well, the only reason I think Ibli is seeing such low usage is because Ibli has an easy out in the form of Lingaribo, right? So Lingaribo is a link 1 that only requires the singular Ibli to use it, right? And it also negates a trap. So in some decks, this Ibli essentially gives them a free trap negate. And it may be easy to get Ibli onto the field, right? But if you are going for Ibli, there are certain things that you have to sacrifice from your field. For example, if you make Ibli, you probably won't be able to go into Appalausa, right? If you make Ibli, it's going to make the Unchained cards a little bit more awkward to get to. But just the fact that Ibli is so easily winning games when your opponent isn't prepared for it just makes it ban worthy, right? You can't have a card that is reducing everyone's extra deck into a 14 card extra deck because they're trying to tech in this one little Lingaribo for this one matchup that they're probably not going to see. And last but not least, Jalgan, bro. Jalgan is getting banned, right? So first of all, Fossil Dino is going to 1, and now Jalgan's getting banned. And again, this is just another one that was very well deserved, right? A lot of stun decks were playing this at 3. In fact, there were some voiceless voice decks that I saw taking in 1 copy of this card because this is a light monster and voiceless voice just protects it from being targeted or attacked into. Yeah, so I think the reason why Jalgan is getting banned and Fossil Dino is only going to 1, even though technically in stun Fossil Dino is a little bit better, is because Jalgan is just going into way too many decks because of what it is, right? In fact, the fact that this was a spellcaster meant that spellcaster support like Spellbooks was able to cheat this out way too easily, and now it's the same thing again, just for light monsters, right? The fact that this is a light monster and not an earth like Fossil Dino means that this card is very easily searchable and fits into a whole bunch of light synergizing decks like Voiceless Voice, like Branded, which can literally get this card from the deck. In fact, you only need a short Branded engine in any deck to play this card. Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, needs a light spellcaster, and Branded Fusion can use materials from the deck, right? So in Master Duel, as long as you play Branded Fusion and Albaz, one of which, by the way, has a super poly effect, the other can just be used straight from the hand. So I don't even know if they can qualify as bricks, right? But these 2 bricks can be used to send Jalgan from the deck to the grave for Sanctifier Dragon, just for Sanctifier Dragon to bring it back from the graveyard. And the reason you only need 2 bricks in Master Duel to use this combo is because unlike every other format, we have Predaplant Verte Anaconda, right? For some reason, this thing, despite causing so much trouble, has not been banned in Master Duel. which means that any deck can do this as long as they have 2 cards at the end of their turn. And that is it. That is the end of the ban list. I want to do a summary, but there's so much in this list, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so Perlerino banned, making tiers even more awkward than they were before. Ibli banned, locking too many people out of the game, basically forcing you to waste an extra deck slot just for this one card. Jalgan, just fitting into way too many decks, bro, had to get banned at some point. Poplar to 1, making Snake Eyes a little bit more awkward than it was before. Fossil Diner to 1, personally I love to see it banned, but it is what it is, I guess. Kieran to 2, making Snake Eyes a little bit more susceptible to hand traps. Gold Shark to 2, being a buff to any deck that wants to have a card in the banished zone. A bit risky, but we'll see how it plays out. Phantom of Yubel to 2, I think this will make Yubel a little bit easier to push through, and it also hurts their follow-up a tiny bit. Dark Beckoning Beast and Opening of the Spirit Gates are going to 2, making the whole engine a little bit more bricky and hurting Yubel's ability to push through hand traps. Colossus is fully coming back. Danger Thunder Dragons had its day, so I guess it was about time. And any deck that can splash this in is only going to play 1 copy anyway. Water Enchantress coming back, meaning that the Adventurer engine is at full power in Master Duel for the first time ever. But that being said, Adventurers have already had their day. Change of Heart coming all the way back to 3. Very good news for any going second deck, including Tenpai, which will probably be coming out this month. Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Now, this one might be a bit abusable in trap decks, but we are just going to have to see. Chaos Space coming back to 3. The card is no longer bricky if you want to play the light and darks, so maybe this is going to see some more use now. But maybe you disagree, maybe I missed something, so make sure to leave your opinions in the comments below, like and subscribe so that I know I'm doing a good job, so I can make sure I see you in the next one, and goodbye.